Hey y'all, Mike with Cardboard Kingdom. Welcome back to another Disney Lorcana video. Today we're going to be talking about some cards with very low listings I want to make sure you're aware of. Let's get into it. Alright guys, first up is going to be Bolt Superdog. This little dog is going Super Saiyan. We are down to 2 listings for this card, up to $200. Obviously some very significant buyouts here over the last couple days. I don't think that this card really saw too much representation in terms of like dominating the meta at any of the tournaments over this weekend, so you know, your guess is as good as mine. Maybe some people are just making some plays on what they think is going to be the meta. But last sale was $103, and now lowest on the market is $200. So this is one. You know, I don't sell a lot of raw enchanteds. Right, I very much value the cards and collect them. Probably, you know, too much to a fault. With that being said, this is one that if I had pulled it, I'd probably be willing to get rid of it. I don't see this becoming the next Tamatoa, right, where it's going to be a $400 card no matter what, or even like a Mufasa from Shimmering Skies that has been pretty steady around $250. I think that this is basically just a buyout that is likely we're gonna see it retrace. And so if I had one, I'd probably sneak it in for, you know, 175, 180 to get rid of it, and then take that money to somewhere else, like some of the other cards that we're going to talk about. But I think that $200 for this card is overpriced. And look, once again, I can't see the future. I'm not as locked into the metagame. I haven't seen this one like really be too influential to my knowledge. So $200 for this card just seems pretty wild. So first card up today is Bolt Superdog going Super Saiyan. 2 listings on the market. All right, guys, keeping with our dog thing, we have Tramp Enterprising Dog. The Enchanted from Arcasia's Island is currently at 2 listings. So absolutely insane amount of a lack of listings here. I will say the price is a lot more fair on this one. So $115 rather than the $200 on the Bolt. So if you wanted to go and get this one, I wouldn't be that mad at you. Kind of a fair price. New Enchanted. And for my, you know, I try to be kind of like a bridge between the collectors and the players. This is a card that actually is going to see some meta play. There's a Lemon Lime deck, an Amber Emerald deck that runs a lot of like ladies and tramps and things like that. And so this deck definitely will have a spot in the meta. And so therefore making this not a bad purchase at $115 in my opinion. All right, guys, next up on the low listing alert watch, we will say the Rockstar Stitch is definitely one that is kind of constantly on this list. The Rockstar Stitch is currently low listed at $400 for a near mint copy. This is a card that is obviously a very sought after card in terms of collectors, the first trophy card, right? Huge grail in my collection. And whenever you look at the total listings available, we are looking at, I think it's 9 listings for a total of 11 copies of the card. When you look at the 3-month snapshot, 42 copies have sold, right? And there's only 11 on the market. So whenever we start to see the supply squeeze, this is where we can see some price increases. So what I would say is don't FOMO in, but if it's a card that you have in terms of your goals that you really want to collect, you've been waiting on it, now might not be the worst time in the world. I can't see the future. I don't know what the short-term price action is going to be, but this is one that might make sense picking up before it gets out of hand. All right, guys, we have a funny low listing alert here as well for my non-collectors. This is more on the player side, but my collectors, you guys will appreciate this. In addition, the Strength of a Raging Fire from Rise of the Floodborn. So for those of you who don't know, this card is very good in the game. It's always been a decent price, right? Gone up pretty significantly over time, but it's currently sitting around $20, right, for a regular copy. When you flip over to Cold Foil, 2 listings, lowest on the market, $125. So you get a playset though for what is that, $500 in total. Definitely recommend not buying Strength of a Raging Fire for $125. I'm gonna give you guys some sound advice. Do not buy this card. Don't buy this playset. Absolutely crazy. Once again, I think part of it is just like funny, like not market manipulation. I don't really like that word. Like people are just like speculating on the card. There's been some decent volume, right? And so that's just more or less a testament to the speculation. At the same time, I think the player base is growing, right? And there's a little bit of this, right? There's just been a lot of organic growth to this card until you get to a point where someone's like, oh my, we're almost out of listings, like let's buy them all. Then you see this. So just a funny low listing alert here. Do not pay $125 for a cold foil Strength of a Raging Fire. All right, guys, to end our low listing portion of the video, we have two very old promos, the Goofy Musketeer from Gamescom 2023 and the Donald Duck Musketeer from Spiel Essen. Both of these are old event-exclusive promos that are starting to get pretty low listing totals. Current sellers are 11 for each of the respective cards. Now, they do have multiple quantities available, right? So some of the listings might have 3 or 4 copies. We are at 29 copies of the Goofy, and we are at 22 copies of the Donald Duck. So, you know, don't necessarily need to FOMO in. There's enough of them out there, but when we start getting to listings that are sub 10 in total amount of sellers, that's when we can start to really see a supply crunch. So I just want to keep these top of mind for you guys. If you do have any interest in collecting the old promos, we are starting to see them dry up a little bit. Still have time, you know, not worth rushing out for necessarily, but if you want to add them to your collection, if you're interested in collecting promo cards, these are a great place to start. They're relatively affordable, $54 for the Spiel Essen Donald Duck, $61 for the Goofy. And when you look at the price, you know, when you look at either of these cards from a pricing perspective, you're picking them up very close to all-time lows. So that's always, you know, that always feels good. Of course, they can always go lower, but you see the volume start to pick up here as these have dropped in price. And I think that typically means better times ahead for these cards. And definitely cards I could see being very collectible in terms of event exclusive, limited in total print count. They've been around for a while. Once again, as we talk about the collector side of Lorcana growing, these are cards that I feel like just naturally are going to be impacted by that collectability growth. With that being said, that is going to be it for the low listing portion of today's video. We are going to just kind of rant and have some dialogue on a couple other things, but that's it for the low listing. So let's get into the additional parts of the video. All right, guys, to end today's video, we have a couple posts from the r/Lorcana Collectors Reddit. Opened my first Arcasia's booster display. Think I got fairly lucky. They hit multiple crabs, one being a cold foil and a bell. So yeah, a box that was probably $100 to $120 to buy. You got one of the most expensive enchanteds. You got the foil crab, which is worth more than a lot of the enchanteds. And then you got a regular crab. I would say you did okay. I would advise not opening any more. Buy any singles you want from here on out, because that is the best box that you are going to open, no doubt about it. I also got a kick out of this one. I think what they're saying is the store was out of Pokemon. Kid got first 2 Lorcana packs. Either they're done with Pokemon or the store was out of Pokemon. So the kid got their first 2 Lorcana packs and pulled this. Cold foil, Shark Maui. Once again, another example of people coming into Lorcana. They spend a couple bucks on a pack, pull a massive hit, and then they get pulled into the rabbit hole, right? It's a tale as old as time. It reminds me of like Space Jam, whenever Michael Jordan reaches in the cup to get the ball and then it gets yoinked down by the Looney Tunes. That's like what happens. Like the Lorcana gods, like just, you know, they've got the dollar bill on the end of the fishing rod and they kind of reel it in. They get you with a big hit, and then, you know, so hopefully we won't see the very common post for PopSir1231 a couple months down the road where they say we spent thousands of dollars on Lorcana and we only opened one enchanted, because that's typically what follows a post like this. So wishing nothing but the best of luck to them. Congrats on the huge hit. Thank you very much for watching the video today, guys. I appreciate it. We'll be back with another video soon. Bye.